So this is the hip mobility sequence that I thought would be really helpful for you. You're going to start, use a yoga block or a foam roller, and you'll bend one knee, and we're just going to do a half frog position. What's important is you can see that my hips are nice and flat and level here. I'm not rolling up off of my right hip to get the leg in that position. I feel a little stretch in my inner thigh, most likely. You'll hold these for 30 seconds to a minute and before you go to the other side. Same thing, hips are nice and flat. Only one leg is dropped open, but it is propped. It's not just free hanging, and my pelvis is level, okay? Then you can do both together, but same thing. I would prop it so it's not just hanging on the joint and you're in a really nice, comfortable position that is in a tiny, tiny bit of stretch or a little tiny bit of resistance is met in that position. I usually, same thing, keep my pelvis nice and level and hang here for about 30 seconds to a minute. Then what we'll do is we'll pop into a half kneeling position, put something underneath your knee if it's uncomfortable to have your knee down on a hard surface. Now, my back will stay neutral, but what I'm gonna do is tuck my hips under, almost as if I'm squeezing my glutes and doing a posterior pelvic tilt to get that stretch in the anterior hip here across the front pretty high, maybe a little bit into the abdomen. If you wanna add a little extra, you can reach to the opposite side to get a little bit of the abdominal muscles on obliques and favor that TFL. Same thing on the other side. You can see again, I'm just simply tucking my hips under to get that stretch in the front of the hip. I hold each of those for about a minute. From here, you can also, if you're feeling pretty flexible, use the couch or a chair and prop your foot up onto it, but stay kind of far away behind you. Then hop up into that half kneeling position. And same thing, don't lean too far back, right? All you have to do is gently push your hip forward, and then you should feel that more into the quad, a little bit lower than and maybe a little into the hips flexor, but a little lower as well. From here, we're gonna do a little bit more of an opening to get a little bit of the adductors on both sides, maybe a tiny bit of hip flexor. Now this would be more, now I'm not the picture of flexibility, but this would be a little more advanced. My arms are inside that right knee. My leg is back, and I feel a really good stretch through my groin on both sides. Now, if that's too much, you can also bring a chair around, and same thing, just prop one leg up and then just kind of lean on the chair and get that leg back. And then again, you should feel that on both the inner thighs, and I hang there for about a minute. And we're gonna do both sides on all of these just to make sure that we are covering all of our bases and really loosening up our hip complex and our lumbar spine. Now, this next one is a lumbar spine twist. So I cross my foot over, and then I'm gonna let my knee drop toward the floor. I'm only gonna go as far as I do not raise up off that right shoulder though. I'm not gonna let everything kind of pop up and roll over. I can give a little bit of overpressure if I would like. Now, you shouldn't feel a ton of pinching in your inner thigh in this. You should feel it pretty much in your lumbar spine or in your hip and your glute. You can see how my shoulder's flat there. If you're getting a lot of pinching, then probably unlock that foot from underneath the other knee and just stack them. Or you again can put a foam roller between the knees and prop it, or between the thighs. This is the nerve glide. Now, the nerve glide is really important. You're gonna point your toe like a ballerina and straighten that knee. You will only straighten the knee as far as you feel a little bit of tension. When you get to that point of tension, you'll flex your foot towards you and then bend the knee as it's flexed. You're gonna do 20 of these on each side. It's very important that you don't push this into as much of a stretch as you can get. Nerves don't like to be stretched that hard, so it's gonna be a very gentle amount of pull at the top of that stretch, okay? This one might be a little challenging. Now, if you can sit like this, that's great. If not, you can also lean away from that position, so lean back. Then it won't be so much stress, but you'll still be getting a gentle stretch on both legs. This one you're not going to hold that long. I'm talking like 10 seconds and then switch, and just kind of switch between the two of them. Oh, my hair is doing something crazy. We'll let it go. Again, if there's too much pinching or you feel you cannot get into this position, just skip this one for now. Here would be a modified version of that. We're just going to drop the legs from side to side. We're sitting up. We can support our weight back a little tiny bit. You'll feel just a gentle stretch. Now with this one, you're literally going to move at the pace I'm moving. We're not going to sit and hold for more than like 2 to 3 seconds because this is a little more of an active mobility exercise. We're just going to move through it like so. And then last we have a little lumbar twist. This one's going to be a little bit less aggressive. Knees are just together, feet are together. Again, we're just dropping side to side. Oh, excuse my dog. Only till you feel a little bit of pull in the back. Hopefully these help.